Hello there, welcome to the channel. This is a little video just going over the features that we know of so far for the upcoming Football Manager 2020. As we can see here, we're on the Football Manager website. Big headline, it is coming in November. I am recording this on the 20th of September, hopefully the day the video comes out. So we're probably no more than about 4 weeks away from the beta drop-in, which is fabulous. I cannot wait. It's snuck up on us a little bit. We always know it's coming. But what we're going to do here today is just have a look at what they've announced so far. And there are some very, very good-looking additions that are coming up in this new version of the game. The first one being the Development Centre. Now, obviously, everybody, no matter what level you manage at in the game, be it at the highest levels or doing a journeyman or a non-league or a road to glory, and you're down in the Highland Leagues, or you're down in if you get a custom database and you're right down there in the Isthmian or the Southern Premier or leagues even lower than that, the combined counties, things like that. We all love finding a young kid. We all love finding that next big thing at our particular level, that kid that just comes in and out of nowhere transforms your team. If you watch my Estudiantes save, you remember a certain young lad called Mario Gatti. I don't need to say any more than that. If you know, you know. And the Development Centre looks like it's going to simplify that whole process. So, of course, one of the most engaging aspects, as we said, is developing talent, earthing wonder kids. And the Development Centre looks like this is where it's going to happen from now on. So it says it's an all-encompassing hub where you can track the progress of your players. It sits on the... it takes the place of, if we bring up the screenshot, it takes the place of the tabs for the under-19s, the under-21s, the under-18s, the reserves, whatever you've got listed down there as your development squads. And this basically brings in all of them into one place, and I love that. I think that's really, really good. So we've got it. This is in Saint Etienne in Ligue 1. So you can see at the top, you've got the overview, which is, I'm guessing this bit here, this big green box in the middle, it's the first team candidates box. So that's going to probably be a movable feast. It's probably going to change over the course of the season, so that's going to be one that you really need to keep an eye on. This is the players that are coming up that you might need to consider. If you've got a cup game coming up or you've got a bit of an injury crisis, this is where to look for those sort of players that you might be able to fill gaps in the squad with. You've got the loans, obviously, those are the ones that you've got out on loan, you can keep tabs on them. This is where you would find your B team, your under-18s, your under-19s, and that little drop down and there as well. And then you've got your youth candidates. I don't know if that's always there or if that's just because we're in March, and in France that might be youth intake day. And then you've got your staff there as well. So that's all looking really, really good. So let's go into this screenshot. If you want to read all the words, you can you go on the Football Manager website yourself and do that. I'm just having a look through the screenshots, seeing what we can glean. So this is the loan screen. This is all the players that you've got out on loan and the ones that you've got in on loan as well. So you can see you've got a little progress graph, which is pretty good. So you've got a couple of players where they've been doing all right, and then this guy in particular has tailed off massively. This Kenny Roca Santos, he looks like he's taken a bit of an upward curve, but he's only played a couple of games, so that's probably the upward curve. He's probably just got into the team and started playing. And down here you've got all the obviously the length of the loan, and then you've got the amount of games, assists, goals, the average rating. I'm assuming you can you've got a little drop down menu there. I'm assuming you can customize that screen like you can your squad screen and your shortlist and all that. And obviously down here you've got the ones where you can recall, terminate all in one place instead of going in and I've had it before in many saves where, especially my Save Our Season series that I've been doing, where you look at a player and you try you're trying to fill your squad, so you look at the players that are out on loan and you have to go into each one individually to see if you can recall them. Here it's all done on one screen. You can see only the top one can be terminated, the rest can't be recalled, probably because either they're long term or we're not in a transfer window, which is usually the case. But again, it's simplifying the whole process, and it's these little details that add up to big changes, and I love that screen. Oops, I've just gone out of full screen, apologies for that. Come on, get back into full screen. Yeah, I love that. I think that looks so good. So then we've got a development this is the youth candidates screen. So as I say, it was probably youth intake day because you do tend to sign them pretty quickly, don't you, to your youth team. Interesting thing is the age. They are all extremely young. I mean, it looks like I've seen the odd 14-year-old come through, but I don't know whether this is just a France thing. But they're all 14 and 15, which is very, very interesting. I would like to see it be that they come in, whatever club you're at, whatever country you're playing in. I would like it for them to come in a little bit younger. I really like the look of that. Obviously, you've got their nationality, their position, their height, their weight, their current ability and their potential ability for our team. A couple of decent-looking ones in there. You would imagine in France that they would have some really decent ones. Then you've got the tactic screen of how your reserves are playing, how each club is playing, each team in your squad in your club is playing. I always have it set so my youth team, my reserves, whatever we've got, they all play the same tactic as the first team. Because for me, that makes sense. It makes the pathway into that first team a lot easier. You can see how they're all playing. You can see areas of the pitch. I'm guessing that's very similar to your tactics screen. So let's go back to features and let's see what else we've got to have a look at. So the club vision, this is an interesting one. Club vision. Now, this is kind of like the expectations, what the board expecting you to deliver. Normally you would have had the competitions tab, which again we can see has disappeared from the sidebar. So again, just streamlining it, just simplifying it a little bit, and again the little changes that make a big difference. So here we have a 5-year plan, and I love this. This is brilliant. This is more realistic. This is exactly what it needs to be. I hated, if you watch my series, I mean, you do still have competitions, I've just noticed that. But you go in there and it would say, like for my Estudiantes series, we finally won the league in the 5th season. And it said the expectation was to finish around the top of the league. And we won the league. So we exceeded that expectation. And yet they were still only 60 or 70% happy with it. And it's like, well, I literally cannot do any more. So how do you get them to 100%? I have no idea. So I like this, that there's more longer term visions, and that is really good. So obviously it's June 2019, so in this they've just literally loaded up a save. So of course the club vision is that it's too soon to pass judgment. They like to sign, this is Watford of course, they like to sign players under the age of 20 for the future, which is preferred but not required. You can see down here we've got all different levels of expectation. In the ongoing, which I'm guessing doesn't change, you've got signed players to develop for profit, which kind of ties in with that top one. Work within a wage budget, and that is required. And I like the fact that they're colour-coded as well, so you can see pretty much the required ones stand out in that lovely little purpley mauve lilac kind of colour. Make a significant profit on transfers is favoured. Again, every club wants to do that. It's not always possible. So for me, that can't be anything other than favoured. Otherwise, it would put too much pressure on you. And then you go into this 5-year plan, which I love. So end of the current season, you've got finishing the top half of the Premier League, 5th round of the FA Cup, 4th round of the Carabao. They're all required. That's going to put a lot of pressure on you, especially with the start that Watford have had. Then the end of the following season, they want to be recognised as the best of the rest. Now that's finishing 7th. And that's going to be tough when you've got clubs like Everton and Leicester and Wolves, and then potentially top 6 clubs dropping down as well. So that's a really tough objective to meet. And then you've got a challenge for silverware, and then you can just see at the bottom behind the work in progress that you've got the end of the 21-22 season. We don't know what's in that, obviously, but again, the club vision looks really good. Down here, this is where you first take over at the club. So develop players using the club's youth system is preferred, and that, I'd have no problem with that. Work within a wage budget required. If that isn't required at every club, I'd be worried. This is at AFC Wimbledon. End of 21-22 season, reach a Sky Bet League One playoffs. If you're starting to save with Wimbledon, good luck with that. And then you've got win promotion by the end of 24-25 to the Sky Bet Championship. Seriously, take on Wimbledon. Really good luck with that. But I really like that. Again, it lays it all out what they want from you going forward, and it does add a certain level of realism, and it is going to add a certain level of pressure when you're playing the game. When you're in a losing run, you're definitely going to fear the sack a little bit more, I think. So you've got a new screen for the the meeting with the chairman. I like that again with the boardroom in the background, and then you've got the breaking news here at the bottom, and then you're meeting. So I like that again, just a nice little streamline. It just jazzes it up a bit, doesn't it? Again, little changes, big difference. Here we have a monthly manager performance update, and I like this again because it's either going to ratchet up the pressure on you or it's going to tell you that you're doing brilliantly. Again, it's colour coded, it's easy to read. You just tell at first glance how you're doing. You're doing pretty well on the overall, and then you've got the gradings. Transfers not so great, but again, it's the 1st of September, so how much input did you really have in the transfers, because they would have already been done when you came in. Tactics, again, September, can't really judge on that too much, and the togetherness in the squad. If you take over a team that's in relegation trouble, you might have a C there because it might be a bit of a fractured dressing room. But again, it just looks beautiful, doesn't it? It really, really does. It just looks clean, and it just looks it's easy to read. Again, it's just really, really easy to look at. We'll have a quick look at the graphic improvements. Get these every year. They do look a lot better. Apparently Wayne Rooney's the manager now. They do look a lot nicer. These ones are the ones I wanted to look at, was the pitch ones. I think these look really good. Now, this one is a dry grass pitch, which you can tell by looking at it. It looks quite brown, and it does look quite dry. If we look at the next picture, it looks very lush. So this is a wet pitch. Now, the thing is this something that you can set up in the game? I mean, it does say they're obviously now affected by the weather, so that's fine. But and it says here we've also had water and mud particles flying off from the pitch, which will lead to visible deterioration, which is pretty good. But, and I love the detail of like the arch over the stand there shining onto the pitch. It'd be nice if you could do it so that you could ask your groundsman to water the pitch or to dry it out, and do things like that. And it would be good to see if your opponents did something similar as well. So it doesn't look like that's going to be in this game, but that would be something I'd quite like to see. Again, another little change. A couple of other big ones, backroom staff and playing time pathway. Now, the pathway one I'm really excited about, along with because I think it ties into the development centre. The backroom staff, I like this as well. Don't really need to go into too much detail, but it's quite good. You've got this team selection. They will tell you who they think would be better suited to come into the team and to drop, and then you can you tick which ones you agree with, and then you can go to you suggested squad. You could probably drop down here and get it from your assistant manager or your physio or whoever you want. If you've got a few players that have maybe played 4 or 5 games in quick succession, you might go to the physio and they might just say probably best if he sits this one out, or things like that. If he's a young player again, it might be a case of he's played 3 in a row, better to have him on the bench for this one. Things like that. Again, just adds that extra little layer, doesn't it, to your team selection, and might bring consequences if you do try and overplay. The tactics screen doesn't look an awful lot different, to be honest. The only thing is it looks like they've added a little bit of extra detail here. So it looks like you can click on a square of the pitch and it'll give you a little report on what is going on in that particular square, which I quite like. It gives you the report here of what's happening. In this case, in this square here, it's what's happening with Welbeck and Ismail Assar. I like that as well. Again, it just gives you that little bit of fine tuning for the tactic, and that for me again just adds to the realism. So let's have a quick look at the playing time pathway then, and then that will be it for this. Obviously you need to get these kids coming up into your team. So this is where you come in with a contract. This seems to be a lot of it. So this is a contract negotiation with Gerard Deulofeu. So currently his playing time is an important player. Going forward into the next season, you can't list him as an important player again. So you've kind of got to go in and say, all right, so an important player, probably someone that's going to maybe start 3 out of 5, something like that. Then you would probably have to put him up to a regular starter. Maybe if he's 31 and an important player, when he hits 32, you can maybe go down to squad player, something like that. But with a player like Gerard Deulofeu, you're probably over the next couple of seasons going to have to go from regular starter to star player and gradually build it up like that. I think we've got some pictures with younger players as well, which we can have a look at. So this is Ryan Cassidy. You can see playing time currently, future prospect. For the next season, it'll be Impact sub, and then for 2022-2023, the Impact sub is gone. But we've got a lot of new options here. I'm not sure how old Ryan. Oh, he's 18. It says there he's an 18-year-old striker. So your first 2 seasons, future prospect, probably means you can send him out on loan. It probably means he'll be happy being down in the development squad. 2021, he's going to look to be on the bench for a lot of games, maybe starting in cups. Playing time 22-23, you would need him then to maybe be a fringe player, maybe a squad player, and then if you put in a fourth year on that, you would probably need to bring him up again. So I really like the fact that you can. It should to take away that element where they come to you saying they're not happy with the amount of games they're playing. That's what I'm assuming this will do. This is Pontus Dahlberg, a 20-year-old goalkeeper. So at the moment, his playing time is breakthrough prospect. Then the following season, you can make him that he'll be the cup goalkeeper, which most FMers, I think, would probably in a cup game would play their young keeper or their reserve keeper to give him some minutes, some experience. So I love the fact that it's there as an option. You've got a backup, an emergency backup. So I'm guessing they're ones that are, look, you're nowhere near the squad, but if we get an injury crisis, you'll be there. You'll be in the squad. And I just, again, it's exactly what you would get in real life. I imagine that you would get the players would want that in their contracts. They would want these promises built in that, you know, there is a pathway for them to get into that team, and I really, really love that. So there's some really good additions. The graphical improvements, you would always expect that in a new FM, but things like the development centre, things like the club vision, the new, as we said, pathway. It looks like the backroom staff have more of an input. I'm hoping that brings the data analysts and the sports scientists into it a little bit more. They've gradually, since they were introduced a couple of years ago, they've gradually just increased their role. Looks like now is the time when they really come into it, and I really love the look of what's happening. That is it then. Let me know in the comments what you think. I cannot wait now for FM20. It looks like FM19 I loved. It was a big jump forward for me, and it looks like FM20 is going to be exponentially bigger in terms of a jump forward. It's going to be very much... I think you're going to find yourself under pressure very, very quickly in certain jobs. So that's going to be really interesting. But yeah, jump in the comments. Let me know what you think of these new features. What have they missed out that you want? I'm still praying for some better press conferences and some better player interactions. I've been wanting it for years. I know a lot of people have, and it still hasn't come yet. Make sure you follow me on Twitter at GamerJamesFM. And yeah, we will do another video in a week or so when we know a little bit more. But jump in the description for everything that's been going on FM19 on the channel. And remember to subscribe and like, and I will see you very soon. Thanks for watching, guys. Bye-bye.